So now we're going to just take a look at navigating your selling catalog and also how to filter and find items that are published, unpublished, retired, what kind of state they're in, that type of thing. So in your item catalog, you're going to see basically some buckets of items across here in these kind of hidden tabs is what I would call them. Your catalog will default to all, so you'll be seeing all items that are here, but you may want to only look at, for example, items that are published in your catalog. So right now I have 4,573 published items. That doesn't mean that's how many I have for sale, because you'll see I have some that have 0 here, but it is a way for me to differentiate the number of published items from items that are unpublished or aired out or things like that. So we do have this unpublished tab. There's another section that I'm going to talk about the unpublished item. It's a little bit different view here than it is here. This is just simply unpublished area. I can come over here at any point in time and click and see why that item is unpublished. So that's just a way for me to look at this. Anytime I am on any of these tabbed areas, I can filter the results that I'm seeing by using this little area here, the filters area. And that's going to bring up a plethora of filters that help me kind of analyze what I have going on depending on what it is I'm looking for. So the first one here is just the status. So I'm in the all category here. If I wanted to see like, oh, just show me the aired items, obviously we have a tab for that. We have a tab for drafts. We have a tab for processing, but maybe I'm wanting to combine that with something else, and it's easier for me to do in the catalog. So that is your status area. We can also filter this by price. So maybe I want to look at everything that's under $10 because I get that extra dollar fee attached to it. So if I apply that, then it's going to filter out anything that is for sale over that $10 mark that I just put in. And so then I can maybe manage these items and see like, oh, are there any that I need to pop over the $10 mark? So it's just a way for me to easily see that. And I can just click that X and it will remove the filter and go back to the list of all items. I can also just look at it by inventory. So show me only the items in this all category where I have available stock, or maybe show me all the out of stock and I want to see if I want to replenish those. Show me these that like I went out of a stock just yesterday, or out of stock in the last 7 days, which means that it's been selling in the last 7 days. So if I click on that and apply, then I will see the list of items that I went out of stock on in the last 7 days. Okay, again, I can just X to clear the filter, or if I click on the filter, I can click X here to clear that filter. I can look at items that have variants versus ones that don't. You know, sometimes you think something is going to sell, it's on a variation, and maybe that one variation isn't as good, something like that. So you might want to take a look at that. Also, you can filter by how it's being fulfilled. Is it seller fulfilled? Is it WFS? Or is it seller fulfilled but eligible to be WFS? So maybe I want to look at these items and see if there are any of these that I might want to ship in to WFS. So you can see here I have a lot of things with zeros. So maybe I combine that filter with only available inventory, so I can see if I have anything seller fulfilled that I have inventory of that maybe I want to ship in. So that kind of gives me something to do here with multiple filters. Life cycle. So this is a very different, I should say, in how Walmart treats items than how Amazon treats items. So Amazon, you have your active inventory, then you can close a listing, and then you can delete a listing. So in Walmart, you have your active listings. Those are active in your catalog. You can replenish them, all of those types of things. Then you have retired, which is kind of like closed. Retired items you can bring back at a later time. So if you sell out of something, you can retire it. And then when it's available again, you can actually unretire it. And then you have archived, and archived, once they're archived, they're done. So if we want to look at just retired items, we could click that and it will bring up our items here. Basically, items get retired by date. So if you go in and tell it to retire an item, then that item gets retired on that date. So if we want to bring an item back, let's say I'm able to replenish this item, we're going to go over to these three dots to the right, and we're going to click Edit Item. And that's going to bring up the Edit Item screen, and I am going to scroll down to the area called Site Experience. And here in Site Experience, you can see this is the date we retired this item. So we no longer had it in stock, not going to get it back in stock, so we retired it. So now let's say, oh, I just got more in stock. So I'm going to come in here and change the end date for this item. And basically the end date, it's going to be a live item for you until that end date happens. So how long do I need to sell through this? So maybe I put end of the year. Okay. And so then I submit and save this, and then that item is no longer going to be retired once that file processes. So let's close that filter. We'll do a quick SKU search and see that this item has been reactivated. We can see that the item is in the activity feed is processing. So it's still pending here. It's got one more item left. Just refresh that until we see that it's processed. Okay, so now that's successfully processed. So if I go back to my catalog and I search by, oh, well, here it is right at the top. But if I search by SKU, it will bring up that item. Okay, and we can see that that item is live and ready to go. So let's say like, oh no, I didn't mean to bring that item back, or hey, I sold out of that item. I want to retire that item. We can go to these three dots. We can click retire item and it will retire it as of today. It says it can take up to 48 hours. It's usually pretty fast. So, but if you do multiple items, which you can do that, sometimes that does take a little bit longer. All right, let's go back and look at our filters again. So those are our life cycle filters. You can also look at change status reason. So if you're trying to find items that you can fix in your catalog, so you can look at the competitive price violation, or maybe it's missing shipping, or there's some internal error that maybe you need to open a case and try to reprocess those items. You can do that through this change status reason. So it's kind of a nice way to filter through your entire catalog. I don't ever look at these. I don't think customers pay much attention to ratings and reviews, but you can look at any items that maybe, fall below a certain threshold on customer rating, and maybe those are items you don't want to replenish. Customer reviews, if it has 0 customer reviews, maybe you don't want to replenish those. Obviously, I only sell things in new condition, but you can filter if you have collectible items or things that are in different conditions. If you're using the Walmart repricer, you can actually sort by strategy. So that is kind of a quick way to see that. And then fitment information. So like on car parts, like is it universal or specific or that kind of thing? You can look at the fitment information. But those are your filters and how you can retire and unretire items. Other things that you can do on this is you can download an entire catalog view. And I will talk about this in another video, because this is a way for you to quickly zero out your seller fulfilled inventory if you need to take like an extended vacation, because there are only 15 vacation days on Walmart. So sometimes we don't want to use those. And so you can actually download your seller fulfilled inventory, create a copy of it, upload it back up with zeros, and then when you're back, upload the original version. But we'll talk about that whole process in a separate video. Also in your catalog, you do have the ability to basically change the look and feel of it. So if there are certain things that you want to see, you can add those fields onto the catalog. Like sometimes I like the product ID as a column. If I'm doing a lot of work, it's easier then to go get the product ID here than somewhere else. Like, for example, I have item ID selected because sometimes it's easier for me to, sorry. So you'll notice like I have item ID here. It's because it's just easier for me to be able to grab the item ID here than to click on this and copy it here. So if I'm doing a lot of work, especially with trying to get items up and going, I'll sometimes drop this item ID in here. It doesn't really hurt anything. It sits off to the side, but yeah, that kind of thing. And also you can resort your column order or sequence. So if I wanted that item ID to come up and be next to the item name, bring it up. And so now we see the item ID is right next to the item. So that's just kind of an aesthetic thing, but also functionality and efficiency, depending what you're doing in your catalog. So you see this character, like I don't need this character column that's taking up space, so let me remove that. And then everything starts to clean up a little bit. So that's the column area here. You can also sort your inventory. So you can sort it by the date that it was last modified. I wish that there was an element here for when it was created, but there unfortunately is not. There is a way in your WFS inventory to kind of look at your older inventory, but most of the time you would have to download some reports to get that kind of aged inventory view. But if we wanted to sort it by, let's just say item name, then it's going to resort this whole catalog page by the item name. Obviously, I don't like that. I'm going to go back and do the date last modified, because that's my preference. All right, so that takes care of filters. It takes care of the sort. It takes care of the columns. Across these tabs, you have your unpublished inventory, items that are errored out currently, which is a great way to see if you need to be ungated at anything. If you get items that are stuck over here in processing, these are probably items that either need an SDS sheet or they're stuck and you're going to have to open a case to get it ungated. So I can tell you right now, looking at this list, there are things here that need SDS sheets, CPC documents, things like that, that they're going to stay over here in processing until I supply that information. So that's your catalog area. Hopefully that's helpful to help you navigate. I spend a lot of time in my catalog area. We're going to go through all of the ways in which you can create items and the other elements of the catalog that are underneath it in other videos. So hopefully this helps you win on Walmart.